Amber Island brought about a lot of new mechanics to the game, but today we're going to be going over how those new mechanics could be made better. First thing that I think could be changed in-game is changing relic production. Right now, if we go in-game, you can see that it takes a huge amount of time to see rewards for your efforts in getting monsters, and I think we need to see rewards a little bit faster. If you head on over to a monster right now, it takes an entire month to be able to see relics come out of a monster, and I think this makes a huge amount of sense as towards how relics are balanced inside of the game. But in terms of a player perspective, I think when you really come down to it, it means that you aren't seeing rewards for your efforts, and I think players really do like when you see instant rewards. So therefore, I'm actually of the opinion that we should see relics much faster inside of the game. I completely agree with how they're doing it as of right now, but I think a way to counteract the issue around players not getting rewards fast enough, let's say when a monster is revitalized on the island, would be to actually decrease the amount of time that it takes to get relics on the island itself. So rather than you increasing relics per month, I think decreasing the timer on when a monster actually produces relics would be a much more fashionable option. So let's say if we level it up from level 1 to level 5, it could go down from a month, let's say, to 2 weeks and so forth, and then you could get relics even faster through that method. And same goes with happiness too. I feel like besides this too, relics produced as of right now aren't much of a reward thanks to diamond conversion and how you can get relics in other places inside of the game. So therefore, I think we might need a bit of rebalancing on that front. When I can go ahead right now and go in my game and purchase relics, let's say, for 3 diamonds each day, when I could go ahead on Amber Island and spend loads of time waking this monster up to get them once a month, let's say, I feel like the option is much more in my favor to go ahead and spend the 3 diamonds. And I get that when we get more monsters and everyone's spent all of the time on the island, it's going to produce a mass amount of relics in the end game. But as of right now, I feel like there might need to be a bit of rebalancing done in terms of how you get relics elsewhere, so that Amber Island does feel a little more worth it. Say if they were to go about it like shards are on Ethereal Island, and Ethereal Island monsters were the only way that you could produce shards and magicals in the magical sanctum, that would mean that there'd be a lot more at stake for me to go ahead and revitalize an Amber Island monster. So going about it through a different lens maybe in terms of rebalancing things, I think could really work out. So overall, I think relic production needs to be faster so we can all see results for our efforts, making our hard work worth it. And I think it needs to be more balanced when you earn relics elsewhere to make getting relics on Amber Island a little more worth it, so I can go ahead and feel like I've actually earned something from revitalizing an Amber Island monster in the first place. More monsters may be coming, and I'm sure that some of these issues might die down, especially when we start to see lots more monsters on the island and even more relics coming in. But at the moment, I feel like that starting pace when you are initially starting out on the island, there's not much there to get you hooked, so you actually want to get all of these monsters so you're getting currency like there is elsewhere inside of the game. So nailing that down and rebalancing things elsewhere in the game, I feel like is integral, so players do want to revitalize monsters on the island. At number 2, I want to see the countdown start when a monster is actually zapped into a monster on Amber Island, not in a worldwide countdown. I love my limited time monsters and being able to get them, but I feel like this countdown is a little off-putting, so let me explain. Now for me, seeing as though I'm starting out on my 35 days and I'm coming in there and I have 35 days to do it as I'm going to go in there day 1, there's not a problem for me. But when I'm imagining it for other players, I see it being a big issue. If we go on ahead to Wobbling Island and Celestial Island, you can see as soon as you place that first monster in, the countdown starts. And the reason behind that is because the player gets to choose when to initiate that response, so that they have the chance to discover the island when they want. Now, I'm fully for the limited time availability of the monsters on the island. I think it's going to really make things interesting, especially with this island being so unique. It's got so many unique mechanics and I absolutely love it for that reason. But I feel like this countdown is very off-putting if someone comes across a monster and they want to discover it, let's say, in a week. They don't really have a chance there to actually get the monster in the first place. So I feel like initiating that countdown when the first monster is zapped over into the new monster is a much more worthwhile thing to do. They don't need to remove the limited availability for the monsters themselves. I think it should just be the case that you can only initiate that countdown during the time frame that you can get the monsters in. I feel like it does need a bit more reworking so players can go ahead and discover them when they want. After all, we're not talking rares and epics here, we're talking normal monsters. Number 3, I have let's spend more relics in more places. Right now, I don't think this is the biggest issue. I feel like we're gonna be spending all of his relics on Amber Island, and it's not an issue right now, but in the future, this is going to be an issue. When we have all those Amber monsters, what will relics actually grant? Let's say I'm a keen-eyed player, I've got all of my Wordos, I've got all of my Amber Island monsters, what are relics actually going to do for me in the end game? If we go on over to Ethereal Island once more, I feel like Ethereal Island is a shooting star for this one, as honestly, shards come to mind immensely with relics right now, because this is kind of a new currency that is being integrated into the game with Amber Island in a way. We've had relics for a long time, but this is the first time where we're seeing monsters actually produce them, and has seen them as being much more of a reward rather than, let's say, a daily reward as such. So with shards, when they initially released, there wasn't much to use them on. Even for relics right now, there's stuff to use them on, but for shards, there was absolutely nothing. That is until Tribal Island came along. So I feel like later there needs to be something for us to spend relics on, so that we feel like us work on Amber Island is worthwhile. Just like how there was for shards, relics need their Tribal Island. Especially when we start to see all of us monsters getting relics every month. We don't want to be sat there with loads of relics coming in and nothing to do with them. At number 4, I have to change the icons back to normal. Now, this isn't necessarily to do with Amber Island, but I'm including it in here anyways. It came along with the update with it. Right now, I'm sure all of you guys are aware from my discovery videos and everything, the icons are the exact same pretty much between all of the different currencies, and it's really hard to work out what is what, especially when I'm on Wublin and Celestial. I can't tell for the life of me what currency is what. Now, fortunately, when you zoom in, you can tell what is what, but I don't really want to be doing that when I'm collecting currency, as you just want to tap it, don't you, and get it over and done with, especially when I'm using the collect all button. I really need to see what's there so we know what currency we're getting. So I feel like changing them icons back to normal, or otherwise just changing the designs up a little bit to suit the different currencies so you can see each individual one, would be a much better thing to do. At number 5 is my least biggest issue of them all, and I feel like this is probably one which we can just take a little bit of a pass on, but I'm including it in here anyway, because you know what, it will make players a lot more happy. Right now, when you revitalize a monster, it goes straight into the nursery. On Wublin and Celestial, yes, we're going over to Wublin and Celestial again, but when you revive a Celestial or wake up a Wublin, it isn't going to a nursery. The nursery is kind of a barrier to you getting that monster, and after you've spent so much time getting a monster and perhaps diamonds towards getting this new fire monster, you don't really want to be sat there having to wait even longer for a monster to hatch inside of a nursery. So I feel like it would be cool to maybe just get rid of the nursery. I feel like this is a bit of a stretch here, but seeing as though players have worked so hard to be rewarded, I don't feel like there should be that barrier there. We're talking Celestial requirements here, guys. End game stuff, and I feel like this could be avoided. Anyway, guys, that is all of my improvements that I would go over for Amber Island. If you enjoyed these improvements, make sure to let me know down below what you think and what you think is the most important one. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and make sure to subscribe too, guys. I will see you later for now.